guys, today's video I'm going to talk about how I did over $74,000 in sales in the month of October. There are 6 kind of strategies that I use to achieve this, and I'm going to go break down each one of them for you. If you're new to the channel, my name is John. I'm a full-time Amazon seller. Sold over $1.7 million on Amazon since I started. And my goal is to help you make money, quit your 9 to 5, or do whatever you want selling on Amazon. So please subscribe to the channel. It would really mean a lot to me. So let's just jump into it. Number 1, test buying paid off huge for me. A lot of the times it can be really hard to get traction, grow your sales, because you don't really want to buy like 50 or 100 or something right off the bat. But it also takes time to test buy. It takes time to buy 10 units, sell them through, make sure they don't get returned, make sure there's no issues, all that kind of stuff, and then to send in 20 and go through the same process. So that's usually my process: buy 10, then 20, then probably like 40-ish, and then kind of go from there. I like to keep it wide, inventory wide, and not go super deep on some stuff, but it is Q4. So my approach is a little different from stuff like that, but just in general, sometimes it makes sense to go deep, but a lot of the things I was test buying really paid off. I started to see some big results, was able to place bigger orders for these things. They're more high ticket. So that really helped a boost in sales. Probably the most profitable month I've had yet. The margins were probably about like 15-ish%. Inventory Labs is still kind of settling that out, so I'll probably know in a couple weeks or so. But I've really liked that. I've had much higher sales months where the margin was like 8 to 10%, and that's not where I want to be. So really happy with kind of where I landed at. But test buying paid off big time. Now, there's also a lot of stuff that I test bought that did not pan out, and I'm having trouble moving. So there's 2 sides to that coin, but for the most part, had a really great bunch of products that are really moving for me, and it all started with a test buy. Number 2, I've bought similar types of items, or maybe similar category brands, for example, where the Keep It chart was okay. Like, for example, if it was this water bottle right here, it was selling really well. And there are other colors on that listing as well. Maybe there was like an orange one, a gray one, a black one that didn't look like it was selling that well. But since this one was selling so well, I was like, I find it weird that none of the other colors would sell close to that. Now, obviously, you got to go into the Keep It Buy Box statistics, look at the variation, see how much each variation is moving, but that always does not tell the whole story. So for me, I have items very similar where I'm just like, if a lot of people are buying this, they probably would also be buying this. The Keep It data does not match up, but you know what? I'm going to do a test buy and kind of see what happens. So I bought 5 of about 8 different things, and sure enough, they are selling just as much, if not more. So a huge part, I guess that goes back to test buying, but also when you're reselling, you have to use some intuition. Like, okay, these water bottles are really hot. It doesn't look like it, but I really do think some of these other colors will move. It's always worth testing. So doing that has played a huge role. I've really found a couple ASINs that really don't look that great on paper, but I have the sales data to prove that they move pretty good. So I'm just going to keep buying those. I kind of like those listings as well because there's a little bit more protection, because a lot of other people will be like, yeah, this is not a good listing. It doesn't really look like it sells that much, but your own data is always the best. Keep It is an amazing tool. So is SellerAmp. If you want a free trial of SellerAmp, there is a link below. Free 14-day trial. Those are probably my 2 main things that I am using when buying products. Um, so yeah, use your gut, use your intuition. Don't be like, oh, I think this other color sells and buy 100 of them. Just test, be smart, and kind of go from there. So that played a huge role. Number three, and there's number six is going to be probably the biggest one. So make sure you stick around for that. But number three, I shared leads with someone else consistently. So it was only like 1 to 2 per day. But sharing leads with someone consistently that you trust is just kind of a game changer. You're really working with someone who knows what they're doing, especially if you guys are kind of in different categories or source different ways. And me and this other person do. So it was really cool to see what they were buying. They enjoyed what I was sending them. And when you do stuff like this, I always tend to send my best stuff because we're sharing and like that is just part of it. So I'm sending them the best stuff I find of the day and they're doing the same. And it just works out for both of us. It also creates almost accountability, right? Because every day I know I have to find 1 or 2 like really good things to share with this person and vice versa. So it makes me very eager to find stuff, to really search every single day and find leads that are really profitable, really make good sense on paper, and kind of send it that person's way. And in return, they do the same for me. So that was a pretty big game changer. Found a lot of brands I've never sold before, categories I never sold before, weird keepas I would never sell on. And a lot of the reason to sharing with someone is you get data so much quicker. So a lot of the stuff they were sending me, they're like, hey, I've sold X amount of this so far. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like they have data. We're not just kind of being like, I think this sells a lot. It's like, hey, I've sold this in the past. Last time I sold this is how quick it moved. This is how much profit I got from it. You know, it's back at a price that makes sense and is profitable. Like I'm going to buy this myself. And everything I sent is stuff I'm buying myself. I'm not sending them like, oh, like here's this lead that like is kind of good. No, like I'm buying it myself. I'm putting my money behind it. I'm telling them how much I'm buying and kind of explaining why I am buying it and kind of walking through my logic, which is super helpful because there's some stuff that like I was gonna buy potentially or send them, and then like when I'm going through the logic, I'm like, like I don't know about this, and I might pass it to them and be like, hey, what do you think about this? But it just really makes you think a little more, and that is always a good thing. Number four, I stayed on top of my replens. Now, replenishables, I've talked about this before in other videos. You know, when you're replenishing stuff, eventually, especially in online arbitrage, other people are going to catch on. So for me, I kind of never really want to go deep on this stuff. It's more like where I am comfortable. So maybe for me, it's buying 50 to 100 of something and then really watching these listings like a hawk, and just looking at them every day, checking to see if the seller count went up, what's happening to the price. Oh man, the price is down $5. Oh, never mind, like someone's a merchant fulfilled seller, but the buy box is still rotating to me at FBA at a higher price. So just really looking at this stuff, and when you look at these listings every day, you see your sales data, you see how much you're making on each one. You just really, it opens your eyes up until what is possible for the ASINs you are replenishing. And sometimes it is very difficult to find a really good ASIN. So when you do, you want to make the most of it. And especially as you kind of am on the listing a little more, you really understand the listing and you know, like, okay, if more people come on this, Amazon's like, no, you've been on this longer, we're still going to give you buy box share. Or sometimes it goes the other way. People lower the price and Amazon's like, yeah, sorry, you've been on this, but, you know, we're going to put the better price in. So it's just really kind of looking at that stuff and just making sure I am in stock. And sometimes that means maybe buying it at a little higher price than I could normally get if it was on sale or if I had coupon codes or stuff like that, but just to stay in stock and keep it moving and keep the listing good. So just kind of keep that in mind. Number 5, I prepped probably half the inventory in October. Before I was sending everything to a prep center. I really like my prep center. I have nothing against them. It was more something that I wanted to test to see if things get checked in quicker at the fulfillment centers by me versus sending everything to Montana. And the results are pretty clear. A lot of stuff does get checked in much quicker on the East Coast. So I kind of have to kind of look at that. But also, when you prep your own items, I know it's somewhat poo-pooed on. You can make so much more money sourcing and all that stuff. But it's your business. You can do what you want. For me, my highest sales months have always come when I was prepping, at least some of it. And I think it's just a speed thing. If it gets to my house, I could get it out that day or the next day, or I could decide, right? My prep center always sends out on Wednesday. So if stuff arrives Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right, it's going to sit around until Wednesday. But if stuff comes to me, arrives Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I can get out a shipment on Sunday, get that stuff headed to Amazon, and it gives me a jump start on other people who are just sending it to prep. Also, shipping times to where I am from are much quicker than getting stuff to Montana. So there's some benefit to that. Obviously, the goal of this business in 2024 is to have pretty much everything go to prep again, but it's Q4, want to make the most of it. And for me, that is prepping, and it's really not eating into much sourcing time. I'm sourcing during the day, prepping on the weekend or Sunday. It doesn't really take that long. The stuff I am prepping is super easy to prep. A lot of it's just sticking labels or putting 2 easy things into a poly bag. Nothing crazy, nothing heavy. It's just been a big game changer for me. And number 6, the most important one, I sourced every single day for the most part. Partly because I'm sharing leads with someone, so sending them something every day means I have to source every day. And it's just amazing what you notice when you're looking at the same sites every day, or going through your email every day. Okay, what codes are there? It just made me very much more aware of the stuff that's going on, sales wise. And you really, especially the last 3 months, I haven't had a VA. I've been doing all the sourcing myself and replenishing stuff and all that good stuff. You really start to get a pulse. One of my goals is to bring on a VA again in 2024, but really kind of document what I'm doing right now and making that the playbook, which I have documented stuff and showed, but I think the way I'm doing it now, if I just show them what I do every day, it's going to be much easier. But the idea of sourcing every day, and that does not mean buying something every day. It could be finding 5 amazing things that currently aren't in stock right now and putting them on a list, or finding 5 things that are kind of profitable, but if there's a 30-40% off sale, they would be profitable and something I want to buy, putting them on that list. So sometimes it's not necessarily buying or spending a ton of money every day, but it is getting good ASINs lined up to buy in the future. So with that being said, I hope you guys found this helpful. Let me know in the comments how you plan to crush Q4, what your strategies were in October, and kind of how you made it out. I'd love to hear it. So we're going to go through it one more time. 1, test buying paid off big. 2, bought similar items where the keep it chart was but I tested it anyway and it worked out really well. 3, share lead consistently with someone. 4, staying on top of replens, making sure I have stock as long as it still looks good. 5, prep inventory myself to keep it going quicker. And 6, sourced daily. Please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Share this video with a friend, and I will see you guys in the next video.